Do you ever feel like you're not fully struggling anymore, but you're not fully healed either? You're kind of stuck in this strange middle space where you're tired, irritable, maybe a bit confused about whether you're making progress or going backwards. So, hi, I'm Mercedes. I have been through lots of trauma in my life and healed it, and I'm sharing my journey. When I say healed it, I'm on that healing journey because I think we're always on a journey. And I'm sharing my insights, the things that I've discovered and things that I've learned through nervous system coaching and loads of other stuff as well. And hopefully by the end of this video, you'll understand what the messy middle actually is and why it feels so uncomfortable and how to support yourself through it and the signs that show you're really moving forward. So lots in here. And stay to the end. I've got a nice little practice for you at the end as well. So let's talk about what being in the messy middle really feels like. So you're not in a crisis anymore. And I like to think about this, that when you are suffering trauma or there's lots going on in your life, you kind of live in your pain. And people can come up with suggestions of ways to move forward, and you will find every excuse possible not to follow the advice because you're living in your pain and you're not ready to move out of it yet. And then as you kind of begin the healing process, you start to move out of it. And so when you're in the messy middle, you're no longer in your pain. You know that you've moved beyond that, but you feel like there's a long way still to go. So you're not completely calm and settled. And you might notice that you get more tired more often. There can be a little bit of confusion or brain fog, sort of dropping in, and a bit irritable as well. And this stage can actually be quite uncomfortable because your system is shifting but not stabilized yet. So you feel like there's stuff moving and happening, but you don't really feel like you're on stable ground. But you also don't feel like you're sitting in your pain anymore. So it's kind of like, it's a confusing state to be in and of itself. And it's very easy to misinterpret this stage as failure. And this is where we need to be really, really careful when we do this. So, because what happens is we don't feel great, right? We don't feel really rubbish, right? But we don't feel great. And so it's easy to think we're going backwards. Okay, this healing stuff, whatever I'm doing, it's not working. Because your brain has forgotten how far you've come as well, but you worry that you're going in the wrong direction and whatever you were doing that was working isn't working anymore. So maybe you need to try something new, and so you're ready to jump on something else. And you look at the tiredness and the irritability or the emotional swings, and you just assume everything's not working. And this is a stage where the risk is that you will quit on your journey, or you'll have to start again in another way because you're wanting to shift everything around. And actually, these symptoms are often just a sign that you're making progress. And I think that's really important to remember, that actually it's not failure. It's actually quite often progress. You're not going backwards. And if you keep doing what you're doing, you will go through this. And the way I look at it is this stage is like an integration phase, because healing isn't linear. It loops around, and we have ups and downs and ups and downs. We go round and round, and we come back, and then new stuff comes up. I think the best example for me was something new came up for me once, and because my dad was an alcoholic, and I didn't see him. I saw him bits when I was a kid, but I think when I was about 15, I decided I didn't want to see him anymore. And when I was 16, I destroyed every letter, card, anything he'd ever sent me. Which seems really extreme, right? But my dad was a bit of a guilt tripper, and I didn't really like reading any of his stuff anyway, so I destroyed it all. And I actually never thought about it at all until I was going through the process of potentially adopting a child, and they have to kind of tear your life apart. And I mentioned it, and I suddenly had this wave of grief. Now, bearing in mind when I was doing this, it was 22 years after I destroyed all these letters. So I had 22 years not thinking about it. But a little bit came, it didn't take me long to work through it, but it was a wave of something else coming up, because healing doesn't go like this. And as we change our perspective, the things that we maybe in the past didn't bother us as much, they're now things that maybe we do need to work through because our perspective has changed. And so that's kind of can be where you're at as well. But what I see this messy middle as your body kind of integrating the work that you've already done. So you've already maybe healed a lot, but there's only so much you can do before your body says, well, I have to put this all back in properly before we can start clearing some more stuff out, because I need to integrate it. And that might need a little bit of rest, a little bit of consolidation, a little bit of quiet time, and reordering. And that's so, I mean, you might feel more tired because your body's like, well, actually, if we rest now, if we do a bit less, we can get our system all back in order. We've had years and years of stress, survival, all this other stuff going on. So we just need a little bit of rest to put it all back into order, and then we can start clearing some more stuff off. The next layer, we can clear some more things away. So some of the best things to do in this stage is to listen to your body without judgment. Okay, so to not judging the tiredness as a fault or a flaw, just to notice it. If you feel tired, you feel tired. And actually in this stage, it can be easier to be more noticeable because of where our regulation is. And if you are tired, you can ask what would feel nourishing right now. Because when we're tired, we can't necessarily stop our lives. We can't say, okay, I'm not going to do anything now. But what we can do is say, what could nourish me? And what's going to help me to feel rested in this situation? So maybe it's the pace of work, maybe it's implementing breaks and extra practices and just little things you can put in and just thinking about that. And what you might find, and for me personally, I quite like this, is to add, when I feel in that way, add more regulation breaks in throughout the day. So more little somatic practices. And I see them if our energy levels are going down, every time we do one of these practices, it just tops us up a little bit and tops us up, and it just keeps us going, and it keeps everything calm and chilled, and we're not kind of going over the edge on anything. And just let the healing weave into your life. If you've got kids, you've got responsibilities, you've got a job, you can't just stop to heal, but you can allow the healing to be woven into your life as you go. And one of the other things you can do is to start to spot the progress, because the messy middle can hide your progress, because you see all these negative stuff happening. Maybe you're tired, you feel a bit confused, you think it's failing, right, which I said before. But what you haven't done is said, Helen, where was I last month? 3 months ago, a year ago, where was I? And when you can reflect back and look back, you say, oh, actually, I'm quite a long way on from that. I'm very different to who I was a year ago. And so that can actually change your whole perspective on where you are right now and that feeling of failure. Because most people realize that they're miles ahead of where they were. And that not being in that pain anymore is actually a huge step forward, and understanding that maybe you're not in that pain anymore can clear a lot of things, because progress doesn't always feel good, but it's still progress, right? It's still progress, even if you think, not really the way I would want it. But you don't get to choose that. You get to just go with it, basically. So in terms of the nervous system, the way I like to look at it is you've kind of got really regulated when you're totally calm, chilled, everything's great. And then you've got dysregulated when everything's kind of out of whack. And often when we're in this messy middle, we're not fully dysregulated, but we're not fully regulated either. So we're kind of somewhere in the middle. And this is in some ways a unique advantage, because this is when we can start to really begin to learn our patterns. Because when we're really triggered and we're really activated, we can't think clearly. And when we're really regulated, actually it can be quite harder to remember the feelings of activation, because we feel too good. So when we're in this messy middle, this is a good time to think about what your triggers are, what regulates you, and get those insights, because the messy middle can give you the insights that you don't get when you're overwhelmed or perfectly calm. And so actually using it as a catalyst for further healing in the future, as you start to reflect on you, how you feel, how you behave, things that bother you, and you can start to notice them, maybe journal about them, and start to think about how they feel in your body as well. So if you are in this stage right now, you're not doing anything wrong. It's not a step backwards. It's not failure. It's just your system integrating and preparing you for what's next. So just be gentle with yourself and go slow. Just let things happen as they happen. It's fine. You'll get there when you get there. And just as a little word of warning, to expect yourself to be fully healed, perfect forever, it's not going to happen, right? We're all on a journey. We're all got stuff to deal with, and we will. The aim is to get to the point where you can deal with things nicely and easily and shed them as they come. And so just being aware that that's probably the best case scenario. So a little practice for you just at the end. So just wherever you are, if you can do this because you're not doing other stuff, just closing your eyes. Okay, we're just calming down. So maybe taking a deep breath in and out through the mouth. It's just calming down. And another deep breath in. And out through the mouth. So with your eyes closed, if that feels comfortable, just tuning into your body, tuning into the sensations you can feel in your body right now. And asking your body, so we're tuning into the wisdom of the body, ask it, what do I need right now? Something that's going to help to support and nourish you. And just notice what comes up for you. So maybe it's a stretch, maybe it's a quick break, quick walk around the block, or maybe it's just a quiet cup of tea to recharge. So just noticing what that is. Coming back into the room, and then when this video is over, go and do it. Do something nourishing for yourself and give your body what it's asking you for. So that's it from the video today. And if you've liked it, remember to like and subscribe. And if you want to add a comment, let me know how things are going for you. That'd be fantastic. And if you'd like to connect further and go deeper, come and join me in my free group, The Sacred Pause. The link is below in the description, and I would absolutely love to see you on the inside.